The date is March 31st, 2004. Bobby DeAndrea, Bobby Andre. Okay. So, when did you first meet Pat, Bobby?
The first time I met him?
Yeah.
I didn't actually meet him. The first time I saw him, I was working Luciano's. This was back in 57, 58. And he was working across the street in the Cottage Inn with the High Lads. And they had told me so much about it. At the time, I was with the Knockouts. That's when I had, my group.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to see him. And they had told me so much about it. And boy, I tell you something. He looked like a blonde god. He was a guy with devastatingly handsome man. Boy, he was a kid then. Well, he must have been about 18, 19. What could he have been then? And he was tremendous. I mean, the singer, he was singing, playing that trumpet. I mean, I remember back then saying, boy, wouldn't it be something if him and I ever could hook up? But I'm talking when I was young too, Mm-hmm. I was thinking what a combination it would have been. But at the time I had the Knockouts going. And
so actually you were in a more famous ensemble than him at that
the
time.
record hadn't hit yet.
Oh.
The record didn't hit in 1960, so at the time I was still building the Knockouts, if you know what I mean. But we were becoming very popular.
And at that time, the Knockouts was a stage show, right? I mean, you guys were putting on a stage show, or were you just doing like songs and routines?
We did songs and comedy.
So you did?
We did sets,
Yeah.
In those days, they didn't have like what it turned into when I started doing actual shows, or just did 2 shows a night. Then it was like 5 sets, 6 sets.
Right. But you were relegated mostly to local tri-state area stuff at that time?
Although at the time, the first road job I went on was Las Vegas. I never was out of New Jersey. My first road job was Las Vegas, the Fremont Hotel.
Was it with
the
part of a
Knockouts.
but was it with part of a package with some other famous people, or just no?
I was on the bill there.
Yeah.
It was in the lounge. I was on the bill with Wayne Newton. Okay. Wayne Newton was in the lounge, working with his brother Jerry.
Yeah. Hang on. Okay, so you meet Pat at the Cottage Inn, right?
Yeah,
fast friend. Oh, you didn't.
No.
Oh.
Pat and I really didn't develop a relationship as far as even knowing each other for years and years and years. He knew of me and I knew of him. But that was it. I mean, I went to see him a couple of times and it was kind of a hello, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But we really never had any type of relationship. Even if we never even had a friendship, I would say, till I finally got to work with him, which was in the 70s.
All right, so now
I knew him all those years. I knew of him, and he knew of me. But we really was a passing. We knew each other.
All right.
That's all.
So it comes to the 70s, early 70s, and
I was working with a group out of Pennsylvania called the Angel Brothers.
Okay.
And it was I was very good. I was very successful. We worked all over the country. I worked Vegas and everything, but it was a very boring show. Mm-hmm. It didn't have any zip, any fire, and I was thinking about leaving. So, and I got this idea, and I got a hold of Pat, and I said, well, of course, I said, how about if I hook up with you? Because at the time, Pat was with the Victorians.
Mike Esther's group?
Yeah.
He joined the Victorians, or he formed the Victorians?
I don't know how they got together.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you.
Johnny Mars...
Because when I got with them, they were together, so I don't know how they got together, who got with who. I don't know.
And when they were the Victorians, there was no girl singer? When you met Pat? All right, so
no.
It's Pat Galo and the Victorians, basically?
Yeah.
All right, hang on. Okay, so it's Pat Galo and the Victorians, and you meet him in Jersey. You suggest to him getting together and forming an act.
Yep.
All right.
He was like this about it.
Had he seen you work?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean he thought. I know he thought a lot of me as a performer. I mean, and I was like totally in awe of him. Mm-hmm. Totally in awe of him.
And who was managing him at the time when you met him?
Bill Ramal.
The arranger?
Yeah.
Oh, he managed him too?
That was his arranger / manager.
So Noel Kramer was gone at the time, or?
Well, I didn't see no Noel Kramer at that time. I mean, I don't know if Pat was still doing business with him, but
he might have
as far as I know, I mean,
because at this time Pat's already divorced, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so you missed
yes,
Noel
the
Kramer.
70s, yeah.
All right. So he's got the Victorians. You get this idea of working together. At first he's lukewarm, but it connects, and he decides to
He
try
had
it.
and the Victorians were totally against it.
All right.
He had to talk the Victorians into doing this thing. They were positive. I don't know where they got this idea that I was going to fall on my face. I mean, the stage is what I do. I mean,
But you were the sixth man then.
Yeah.
So maybe they didn't want to pay the extra guy. You never know.
I don't think they wanted to share the spotlight with me.
Okay.
Or afraid I might try to usurp
Who
them.
was the biggest agitator that
Tony.
really didn't want
Tony
you?
Testa.
And the second one after him? Or he was really it?
Tony's pretty much it. He was the instigator, you know.
Okay.
Johnny Mars was very this way, but I won him over.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I wound up winning almost everybody over except Tony. I never could win over Tony. But everybody, we got very friendly. Mike Guest and I, he's a total sweetheart.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the best.
Okay, so now you're in the band and you're performing.
Yeah. And I remember Pat saying to me, see, Pat never worked with me before. So Pat says to me, now look, when I get up on stage, if you feel you're losing them, just put it in my hands. Now, I just kept my mouth shut. So when we hit the stage, boom! You know how I work. You know how I work.
Yeah.
So it was a total explosion, and Pat was like, even his mouth was hanging open, you know, and it was instant magic.
And he knew it, and you knew it.
Yeah, Pat knew it. See, Pat now, when we talk about it, he has a tendency to be revisionist. He's talking the way he feels he should have been.
Exactly.
Do you understand?
Yeah, I totally understand.
In other words, when he talks about things now, he talks about this great affection he had for me. He didn't.
Mm-hmm.
He respected me. He knew I was a great entertainer, just as I knew he was a great entertainer. But he never treated me as such. He was very, very, very abusive.
He didn't treat anybody.
No.
Well.
But I mean, I'm working right with this guy. He was totally abusive.
Same thing with Jerry LaGuardia. Yeah.
Totally abusive.
Hang on.
Yeah. But if,
he could embarrass you right on stage. I mean,
oh
maybe
yeah,
not
yeah.
you, but
and he would embarrass me off stage too. He could be abusive.
Okay, now let's explore that. He's abusive, and we all know it. He did it to me. He did it to Jerry. He did it to everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, we now find out that he was on antidepressants. He's seeing a doctor these years. He's got on mind-altering drugs that allow him to be anybody he pretends to be.
Right.
All right?
Yeah.
Now, understanding that, can you, and I've tried to come to grips with this myself, can you understand that it may not totally have been him doing that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I have no doubt about that. Absolutely. I mean, Pat's an enigma. I mean, Pat was such a complex, twisted person, whether it be because of the drugs he was taking, whether it just be a lot of it, just him, his insecurities.
Give me an example of those insecurities. Like, can you think of a moment when you couldn't believe a man with this amount of talent is falling apart in your hands, and it was almost like a guy who had never hit the stage before. You could barely drag him out. Can you think of at least one of those?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. When we were in Vegas. That's where it
the
became
time,
crystal
excuse me,
clear.
the time that Sergio brought you? That seems to be
We
the
were
big
in the
one.
dressing room. We were in the dressing room, and we're going to open. And Pat had his head. We're in the dressing room on the table, the dressing table.
Angela, Jerry, this is all part of this
They're all
group.
in there.
All right.
He had his head like this, and the musicians are in there.
All right.
His head on the ground. I said, oh, so I walk in. I go, okay, we're ready to go, man. I'm ready to go. I said, so what's the matter, Pat? He goes, can't go on. I can't go on. I said, are you crazy? What are you talking about? You can't go on. Can't handle this pressure. I said, Pat, what do you got to handle? You're a great entertainer. You just go out there and do what you always done. Do what you do in the Jolly Smuggler. So then there's a knock at the door. Sergio Frankie. So he's going, all right, how you guys doing? So we're trying to not have him come in.
Yeah.
So what's going on? He goes, what's the matter? What's going on here? What the hell's the matter here?
Because his name was on the line because he brought you.
Yeah. I said, no, everything's all right. Everything's all right. Now, here's an example. This is what Pat would never care to remember. Because I was saying, come on, Pat. He lashed at me. He was angry with me. I don't know exactly what was...
For not understanding where he was at?
I mean, look, it's time to go on stage. There's no time for understanding. Do you understand, Larry? I mean, there's no time for understanding. I don't give a shit if your dog is dying. We got to go on stage. I don't care if your mother's dying. But this is me. A lot of people don't like me because of this. My mom died. I went on a cruise ship. I had to go to work.
Yeah.
I never made it to my mother's funeral. My mother.
I missed my father's. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I mean, and it goes beyond the show must go on. It goes beyond that. It's not just the show must go on. It's just me. It's the way I am. So when I saw him, I go, come on, Pat. Come on. Now, I didn't get snotty with him. I knew better than to do that.
You dressed. There's only minutes left.
We're on tuxedos. Showtime. At the MGM Grand.
And they're saying, what's the matter? Where are you guys?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
We go out there, and he made me pay for it. He put me into the dumper. He didn't straighten me. We were doing that bit where I do the guy in the audience.
Yeah.
He left me hanging in front of all celebrities.
Wait a minute. His line is, you're going to go into you're the guy in the audience that's heckling him? One of those deals?
Exactly.
All right.
You don't feed me.
Where are you at that point? Are you in the audience?
In the audience with a baggy outfit on.
So, at what point do you come up? Do you then usurp him? And
I did it, but it don't work that way. No, I did what I had to do.
Did you force yourself on stage?
Of course.
Yeah, okay.
So I went up on stage, I did. So he put me totally into the shitter. Whether, I'm sure in retrospect now, he'll tell you that never happened.
No. Don't reflect. Give me the feeling. So you're on stage. You forced your way on.
So now I had all comics in the audience.
Anybody you can? Norm Crosby, any of them?
Marty Allen, Dick Capri, Henny Youngman. What the hell else was? I can't think now. There was about one or two other comics. Now these are my peers. They knew I was in trouble.
The upper echelons,
yeah.
by the way.
Yeah, and they saw I was in trouble. They saw what was going on.
Yeah,
the comics picked right up.
Yeah.
So during the course of the show, in this show, now that bit was over. We ended that bit. The next thing was supposed to be was like an Elvis thing, which was supposed to be about this long. It's me by myself. I made it this long.
He's off stage and you come on and do your Elvis thing, and you pulled it out.
Yeah, I kicked
you
ass.
Reached in.
I reached in
and pulled out everything.
You could hear the comics in the audience hitting the table because that's their way.
What's the bit?
It was like I do this takeoff and Elvis, original Joe, but I exaggerate. I was doing a lot of body, 1, 2, and then I started going to an epileptic fit.
Yeah.
Brought the house down.
Okay.
But I was all,
Is he watching you bring the house down? Oh, you're in trouble. Oh, you're in trouble.
I came off stage. The only thing is, he was almost in trouble because I snapped. And Nick Montemuro, God rest his soul, he's dead. You remember Nick, my drummer?
Yeah.
He was the drummer with that group, He became the drummer. He was our drummer.
Not Neil Saccone.
Neil Saccone, when the thing broke up when Jerry's Purcell, remember, we're jumping history here. This is Jerry. We're going to the Jerry Purcell story. That's another story.
That's later?
No, that's before this.
Okay, before this, all right.
So the group broke up, and then Nick Montemuro was the drummer. Okay. Jerry Guardi was on keyboards. So I went behind stage, and I grabbed a chair. And Nick and Jerry grabbed me. I was going to hit him when he came off stage. I was like a crazy man. I flipped out that he would put me in that much trouble. And I'll tell you how bad it was. I came off stage, finally they grabbed me, came off stage. We ended the show that night. I went into the bar. There was a bar, like a little lounge bar on the outside of the theater where we worked. And I'm sitting there drinking and half crying. I had tears coming out of my face. Who comes up behind me? Sergio puts his hand on my shoulder. He said, I saw what he did. That bastard. I saw what he did. He said, don't feel bad. You did a good job here. But I said, thank you, Sergio. Thank you. And that was it. And that was the end of that episode.
Well, wait a minute. So where does Pat, does he just turn a light switch and like it didn't happen?
Exactly. I didn't bring it up.
So
what good would it have done me? Okay, Pat, that was a terrible thing you did. What? You don't talk to Pat Galo like that. Not then. Now you could.
Yeah.
Now you could. But when I talk to Pat now, I don't bring any of this up.
Yeah.
You know why?
What's the point? Yeah. But was he oblivious the next night? So that's the end of that night.
Totally oblivious to what happened that night before.
And then he feeds you the next night. This line.
When Pat gets like that, then he could kill a child.
Yeah.
And completely forget, and be like, tomorrow's like, hey, how you doing? The next day he's hugging me. Well, this is the guy, man, my buddy, my little buddy. He used to call me.
Wait a minute.
And you want to know something? When he do that, I forget everything he did to me.
Was there a schizophrenic kind of a pattern to this, or I mean, how?
That's Pat. Pat, nice guy, bad guy. It's like that when the little boy who was when he was bad, he was very, very bad. When he was good, he was very, 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 very good.
Yeah.
That's Pat. In other words, and you would find yourself, if you work with him for a while, you get caught up into that trap, into that web. In other words, because he was so friggin' charming, when he would be, the next day be nice, that he didn't, he didn't mean it. It didn't really happen. Maybe I thought it the wrong way. Because then he'd be warm and, hey, Bobby, and then that would totally win me over when we get into our work, and he would be creative along with me. Then it was like orgasmic.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta see. Nobody really realizes, because we weren't together that long. This moment we had, this moment.
It was a year or two, wasn't it?
It's about 2 years.
Yeah.
But this moment, these 2 years we had together, it was such a bright, shining time. What could have happened for us is frightening, because we were on an echelon. It was so classy and so artistic and so sensitive and creative. I can't put it into words. That everything after that was downhill for me. Even whatever victories that I found, even with Frank. I love Frank. I love work. I've been with Frank 30 years now, and we've had some great times, but nothing I ever did in show business. I shouldn't say Frank, because that just isn't Frank. Nothing I ever did in show business ever equaled that moment we had when we were in Puerto Rico. These moments of brilliance, these things we were doing.
Sammy Davis thing.
That Sammy Davis, when we did Alone Again Naturally. And
that's the thing that he sprung on you that you didn't know he was going to do.
Yeah. That's when we had that connection, him and I. Mm-hmm. I mean, if we were homosexuals, we would have been fucking each other. Yeah. I mean, that's how beautiful it was. I mean, you understand what
Puerto Rico was before Vegas, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, you can't imagine what went on in Puerto Rico. We keep talking. I mean, he'll tell you about Puerto Rico. I'll tell you. And that's one thing we definitely in sync about. What happened there? I mean, it was magical. I mean, just to give you an example, give you another idea about him. We were going to open the show, and Liza Minnelli is sitting up in the first tier.
In Puerto Rico?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She's sitting up in the first tier.
What hotel?
The Helio Isla.
What?
The Helio Isla.
Okay.
It's right across from the Flamboyant. Beautiful, gorgeous, huge hotel. Huge.
Near the Conquistador?
No, that's out.
Okay.
The room we worked in, the La Ronda room, was like absolutely, it was cavernous, was gorgeous, like an egg-shaped, it had a shell.
Okay.
I mean, it looked like a 1935 theater in the old nightclubs. Okay. Remember those lavish theaters? That's what it looked like. That's what it looked like, with the tiers and people sitting in raised tiers, and tables right up to us,
So where's Liza Minnelli?
and like a little semi-balcony.
Who at this time is a young girl in her
Yeah,
20s.
yeah. So we're gonna start. The show starts. We open with "Love." This is my song. Love, this is my song. We da 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 da. We sing it together. It's the opener. So then the opener ends, and he walks over to Liza Minnelli. Now the spot is following him. You got to picture this. Nobody knew what the he was doing. He goes like this. Don't misunderstand. Real quick. That nobody could hear, like off mic.
To her or you?
To the band.
Oh.
Walks over to her, and he goes, "Hi, baby." Let me light your cigarette for you. Never saw, she was like creaming. She was creaming. I mean, you know, baby, he has a microphone. You and I ought to get together. But don't make anything of it. Don't misunderstand. And it goes right in. We are only strangers on our way to somewhere else, someplace we forgot. If I could have, I would have went right over like this and fell on my back. This big.
Yeah.
Killed him. When he started to sing, the audience erupted. This is the kind of magic I'm talking about. You can't buy that. You're born with that. If Pat had any one great talent, that was it. That thing, that charisma, that charismatic thing he had about himself. I mean, this guy could read the phone book and hold people like this. You know, it's a gift. But the thing is, the things we did together with this wise guy bit that we put together, it was so funny, and it was nothing. It was just the way. I tried doing this, just to give you an example. I tried doing the same bit with Frank. I tried doing it when I was with the Angel Brothers. It never worked with Pat the way it worked. Now the bit was a very simple bit. The bit was, Pat starts to sing a song. I walk up to I'm off stage. So I come off stage and say, "Pat, excuse me, stop." He says, now you know Pat, he actually, what the hell are you stopping me from singing? But the way he's selling this, you gotta understand. People go, "Oh, are you crazy? I'm getting ready to sing a song. You come out and bother me?" But he does in a way, it doesn't look like contrived.
Yeah.
It looks like it's really happening.
Even Martin and Lewis would look contrived at times.
Yeah, not this. Not him and I. Not him and I. We were into it. So I go, "Pat, listen, I don't want to start trouble. There's some guys in the back here from Brooklyn. They say they know you from a long time ago. They want you to do an Italian song." So he goes, "Bob, look, I'm going to do this song now. I mean, I don't know who these guys are. I don't know who you're talking about. I got to do this song now. Maybe later on I'll do an Italian song." I said, "Okay." So I walk off stage. Starts to sing again. I walk back on the stage again. "Pat, listen, Pat, not for nothing. These guys, they really want to hear an Italian song. I mean, you know, come on, Pat. The guys, they... Listen, Bob, I'm not going to tell you again. I'm not going to do an Italian song. I'm going to sing this song. Now get the hell off the stage and tell those guys that I'm not going to do an Italian song." "Okay, Pat." Now this is building, you understand? I walk off stage again. Now I come back out, walking very fast. "Pat, Patty, please do an Italian song. Please. Listen, I'm not going to do any. Tell them morons. Don't. You tell those jerks. Pat, please, you got to do an Italian song. I'm not going to do it. Now get out of here. Now go back there and tell me I'm not going to do it." I come back. Now by this time I come back disheveled. My jacket is like pulled down. My hair is like up in the air a little bit. Listen, these guys, they're kidding. They just said, tell Pat I want to hear an Italian song. And that was the guy's wife. Pat, please do this song. Then he goes to me, Bobby, what's the matter with you? I always thought you were a tough guy. I was proud of you. I had pride in you. I always thought that you were a guy that wouldn't be afraid of anything. Now what? I want you to get tough. Pat, I want you to get tough. Now can you smack my face? You understand? I want you to go there and tell those guys that you're going to do it, that my partner's going to do whatever he wants to do, and there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it. I want you to say it back to me. I could tell those guys, now come on, say it. Don't be afraid to say it. I'm going to tell those son of a bitches that you're going to sing anything you want. You sing what you want, Pat, and I'll take care of these guys. I walk off stage. Now Pat starts to sing the battles and you hear, boom, crash, boom, give it a sound effect, boom, bang, ow, boom, bing, boom. I walk back on the stage. I got blood all over me. I have a bandage with a bone and a what do you call it? Crutch. He looks at me. Way muddy, way muddy. Simple, but the way he did it, you understand?
Yeah.
The way he did it. It never worked for me with anybody else.
Okay, so let's see. So, all right. So now let's get to how it ended. Your association with Pat. So everything's going great here.
It started well. Jerry's. You see, we're doing this kind of out of context. We're doing this a little out of context right now because this isn't historically. This isn't exactly how it happened. No, it's when Jerry. See, we were doing all this great stuff was happening in Puerto Rico. The kiss of death was Jerry Purcell.
Right.
When Jerry Purcell got into the picture, everything went down because he wound up breaking up the Victorians, making the Victorians split from Pat.
But he had an idea to promote Pat, didn't he?
Yeah. And not me.
Yeah.
At all.
All right.
And Pat knew this. See, Pat now, this is where Pat revises history. He goes to me, why did you leave? What? I says, he wanted me out. You know he wanted me out. Don't tell me you didn't have conversations. If he was telling me, you're going to tell me, I said, that he wasn't having conversations with you at the time saying we got to dump that guy? Don't tell me that. Pat, I says, don't tell me that. He wound up fucking my wife. I mean, not that I gave a shit because we were breaking up anyway. She was a Looney Tune. But this is where Pat revises history.
Right. This is going on in Puerto Rico, and I have written a confrontation between you and Jerry that's in there now. And you tell him you can have my wife.
I told him, fuck her. I don't give a shit what you're doing.
Right. When do we go to Vegas?
Yeah. That's like,
right.
History.
All right, but now...
This angered him.
So now, how is he dropping hints or overtly cutting you out of the picture? Is he telling Pat...
Well, one thing was money.
Okay.
I wasn't splitting with Pat. He and me making a certain percentage. Pat made the most. I made the next most, and the other guy the next most, and the next most. I wasn't happy with that.
Jerry is booking it, and Jerry's paying you guys.
No.
Okay. Pat's not paying you.
I'm not minimizing Jerry Purcell. Jerry Purcell could have probably made, if he put his head in the right place, could have made Pat and I huge stars.
While he's working with you, does he have Eddie Arnold, or what's going on? Yeah. So really, he's got a big fish there.
Oh yeah, I mean,
taking a lot of his time. I mean,
but he was very in love with Pat, and had he fell in love with Pat Galo and Andre, it could have been he refused the fact that I was as strong as I was. In other words, the better I did, the angrier it made him. The more he saw that Pat needed me, the angrier it made him.
Because he knew it was going to be hard to break that up. Because the more dependent Pat got on you, the worse it was going to make it for him to pull you away from him.
Exactly right. And the thing is, I wasn't fighting him. I was trying to make him like me. I mean, I wasn't stupid. I knew this. I knew this guy was powerful. I mean, I knew what he was. It wasn't like I was going to fuck him. I wasn't trying to undermine anything. I wanted it to happen. I was hoping that I could win him over. That's what I wanted to do more than anything else in the world. So he
had blinders on for you.
Yeah, he had blinders on. I mean, there was just he just didn't like me.
He had it in his mind. You weren't part of the picture, and that's it.
That's it. That's it.
All right, so now how does he accomplish this? Besides, I mean, the fact that...
Well, what happened is I wound up quitting. I saw I was banging my head against a brick wall.
Yeah.
And then this drummer made me go over to see Frankie Cirell singing at this nightclub at the time in the Playpen. The Playpen down South Jersey.
Okay, yeah.
And I went, outside Playpen. And I went to see him. I fell in love. I mean, you know what Frank looked like.
Yeah. I mean, and that voice.
And that voice. I mean, it was like, I went like this. Holy shit! If I can't do something with this, I better hang my. I mean, what was more made to order? This beautiful, beautiful guy with all this energy, singing like a Pavarotti.
Yeah.
I said, oh shit! I mean, Frank never knew what the hell he was. Frank didn't know how to put his pants on until he met me.
I know.
I mean,
But now, was Frank warm to the idea, or did you have to sell him on
Yeah,
this?
no. I didn't have to give him. He knew a lot about me, and he was very impressed the fact that I was a knockout, that I had a hit record.
Yeah.
To this day, Frank feels that way.
Yeah.
It's fun.
He's beautifully simple.
Yeah, he is. He is. He's a simple soul.
Yeah.
He's a simple soul. You know, Frank's enemy is Frank. Frank's worst enemy is Frank Cirell.
Yeah. But he's a kind soul. He really is.
He's 30 years. Larry, 30 years.
All right, so now you put in your 2 weeks' notice.
Yeah.
You're getting out.
And they were on their way to Sudmiller's in Ohio. I didn't go. I said, I'm not going to show. Oh, you got to go there. I said, no. So Jerry started a little bit on the, you better. I said, look. I said, don't fucking threaten me. I said, you're fucking my wife. You fucked me up and everything. I said, now you think you're going to. I said, get the fuck out of here. I said, I'm out of here. And gone. Now, Pat at this time now, hated me. I mean, if he had a gun, I think he would have shot me.
Because now he thinks you're screwing him.
Exactly. Because he refused. See, Pat didn't want to. Like I'm saying, you're trying to tell me that Jerry Purcell all those times not telling him, we're going to dump that guy, What do you think, you're not telling me? And Pat was probably saying, yeah, okay. Because Pat wasn't going to, maybe Pat didn't want that to happen, but he was going to do whatever Jerry told him. And I knew that. I said, the time's going to come when this guy's going to dump me. I'm going to bring this guy all the way up to this certain point and say, take a fucking hike. I'm going, what, am I crazy?
Now, you're the only one leaving at this time?
Yeah.
Angela and Jerry, everybody's staying.
Yeah. They stayed when the but they went to Sudmiller's and...
Tanks?
Bad. All the jobs I did after that, I got the word straight right back from Jerry, he told me, and then Nick Montemuro told me. They fucking died.
And you never worked with Pat again after that?
Yeah.
Oh, you?
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, Frank and I broke up about I don't remember the year. And I went back with Pat for about a year, but it didn't work out. Frankie C. was handling it. And we did some road work. We were on the road with Brooke Benton. We went on the road with Brooke Benton.
Oh, yeah. I
And
remember that.
But it didn't work out. We couldn't regain...
Maybe that breach between you was lost or something. Maybe that...
It was because there was still bad feeling. No, it's he tried to tell me, we were trying to make believe, both of us were trying to make believe that we could probably have a better, if we were going to get back together again, we'd have a better shot at getting back together again now.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean when I say that?
Yeah.
Because where his head is now, where my head is now, we probably could do something. We'd have a better shot. Let's put it that way. Because we wouldn't be. But at that time, there was still anger. Yeah. And it was...
It was almost like the Beatles getting back together.
Yeah, it was ludicrous. It just didn't happen. It didn't happen. And I was sorry that I went back with him because it kind of... I like better thinking about what it was.
Yeah. So how does that end? You both kind of know you came to a mutual agreement after that year.
No, he was mad when I left again.
Oh yeah.
He was mad again. He was angry.
So you went back with Frank.
Yeah. Yeah.
All this is the 70s, I'm sure, right? We're talking.
No. The second time I was with him, no, this was in the 80s, I think. The 80s. When Frank and I, because Frank and I broke up 3 times in the 3 months.
I know that.
Yeah, we broke up a couple of times.
When's the last time